everyone, I am Sabrina and welcome to my channel. In today's video we are doing a tutorial on how to crochet the 3D reversible puff stitch part 2. Part 2 is about the border, which I'm going to show you now. I hope you will enjoy it as much as I enjoyed making it for you. So here it is. Here's the border. This is the corner. And this is the sides. This is how it's working up. There we are. It is super easy to make and very fast. Here's the blanket. So I do go through this tutorial with you step by step, of course, on how to make this border. And it's a four round border, but the fourth round is totally optional. You do not have to do the fourth round if you do not want to. So it is a 3-round border with a 4th round, which is totally optional. And of course I will go through the tutorial with you on what size hooks you need. So I've used 2 different sizes for the border. I've used my 4.5mm hook, and I went down a size as well with a 4mm crochet hook. All this I will explain to you in the tutorial. And the completed blanket measures, and I've lost the paper, which is not very good, is it? Here we are. The blanket with the border included measures, so the width of it is 12.5 inches, which is 32 centimeters, and the length of it is 30 inches, which is 76 centimeters. Alright, I got that completely wrong. Sorry, you guys. The width of it is 12.5 inches, which is 32 centimeters, and the length is 30 inches, which is 76 centimeters. And I have used 65 grams of white for the whole blanket and 85 grams of peach. So it just depends what size blanket you want to make. I think a 30-inch blanket in length is quite a good size. So if you just want to double the size of it, you just double the amount of yarn. So I think it's pretty neat, really. You definitely need less than 200 grams for the size I have made. So if you want to double that up, you just, so instead of 12.5 inches across, it could be 25 inches. So in that case, you just need less than 400 grams. So I don't think it's particularly a big yarn eater, considering. But anyway, I hope you will enjoy this tutorial. And let's, without further ado, begin on the border.
Hello everyone, my name is Sabrina. Welcome to my channel. In today's video, we are going to learn how to crochet the 3D reversible puff stitch blanket, part 2. So if you want to find out how to do the body of this blanket, head over to part 1 now. And if you're ready to go ahead with part 2 to do the border, feel free to join us right now. I hope you will enjoy this tutorial. I am now ready to begin part 2 of this tutorial, and thanks to Stella Flores from the US of A, I have now my wonderful new flask ready with tons of coffee inside, and I know it's going to remain hot for a very long time, and I'm going to enjoy this wonderful coffee. Thank you so much, Stella. I'm going to definitely treasure this and use it every single day. So here we are. I finished the body of my blanket, and in total I have made, I will zoom in a little bit. Here we are. So besides the 2 setup rows, I have done an extra 55 rows. And this blanket, now it's time to zoom out a little. This blanket in total measures across, it measures 9.5 inches, which is 24 centimeters, and in the length it measures 26.5 inches, which is 68 centimeters. And I have used 2 colors, both in DK with a 4.5 millimeter hook. For the border, we will not be working in rows, we will be working in rounds. And we will still be using DK and still the 4.5 millimeter hook. There we are. Focus. No? It does not want to focus today. Come on. Here we are. 4.5 millimeter hook. So we will begin this blanket in any corner. Personally, I will go at the top of the blanket where I finished off, and in fact I left my last tail right here. So very quickly before we start part 2, what I did was, with this color I did 6 rows, and in the white color I did 4 rows, and I just did alternating colors like so. I think it looks very pretty, but you could work with 1 color if you wish, or if you want to, you could use as many colors as you want, and why not variegated yarn too. You can use absolutely any yarn that you wish. So now to start part 2, I'm going to go to the end of where I finished, like I said, and here's my very last yarn tail, and I will pause and I will show you what to do next, where to reattach the yarn, and where to start on round 1 of the border. We are now ready to begin round 1 of our border. So as I previously said, I was going to pick up my project and begin from here, but I have changed my mind. So with the right side facing, and this is the last row I made, the very last row on the right side, I decided to go back to the beginning of this row and join the yarn in the very first stitch, which was actually the top of the beginning chain 3. I will zoom in a little bit. This is the very last row on the right side, and when we did that chain 3, I'm going to join the yarn on the top of that chain. So I will grab the yarn, make a slip knot, make the slip knot however you want to make it, and once you've got your slip knot, you will attach the yarn on top of that chain 3, just like so. I like to grab 2 loops, but of course this is entirely up to you. You see, just like so with 2 loops. There we are. Grab the yarn, and you have now attached the yarn. And now we're going to start with the first corner. So we're going to chain 1, do a single crochet on top of that same stitch, and then we're going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3. That chain 3 will act as a first corner, and then in the same stitch again we're going to put another single crochet. So single crochet. Okay, and now I will explain a little bit more about the top of this row. So now that we're looking at this row in particular here, we can see that this is not completely laying flat, and that's due to the nature of the shells that we made. So we're going to try and flatten this a little bit, and in doing so we're going to combine single crochets and half double crochet. Now we've worked our first corner, which consisted of a single crochet, chain 3, and a single crochet in the same stitch. We're going to go ahead and chain 2, just like so. We're going to skip 2 double crochet, and in the single crochet here, let's see if we can zoom in. And that single crochet here, through both loops now, we don't need to work through back loops anymore. Through both loops we're going to do a half double crochet, just like so, and hopefully this will level this row a little bit more. If not, I guess it doesn't really matter that much, right? So let's continue. I'm gonna chain 2. We're going to skip 2 double crochet, and then the next double crochet we're going to put in a single crochet and skip 2, chain 2, and we're going to skip 2 double crochet, and in the next single crochet we're going to do a half double crochet. And we're going to do this all the way along this row. When we get to the end of the row, I will show you what to do to work a corner. I will pause now and meet you at the end of this row. The top of the row is done, and we can see that it is somewhat a little bit flatter, which is superb. So now we are ready to go ahead and continue to finish this row, and then I will show you what to do. I will zoom in a little bit now because I'm at the end of the row, and here's the end tail from, of course, the end of this color. So I will chain 2, and in this very last stitch here we're going to work a corner. So to work a corner, do you see the very last stitch here with the tail? There it is. You're going to put in, are we okay with the camera and things? I hope you can see this okay. Right. So in this stitch here, you're going to put in a single crochet, chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and in the same stitch you're going to put in another single crochet, just like so. And I don't know if you know this, but I do like to use stitch markers and different things like that. So in this corner chain I am going to put in a stitch marker, because then I don't need to look for it at all. I can just find it so easily. There we are. I do like to use stitch markers. It just makes life a lot easier. Okay, now that we've done that, we're going to flip the blanket to the side so we can work on this side here, which is the second side of the blanket. So this is going to be very easy to do. All you have to do now is chain 2, and I will show you where we're going to work. This I need to zoom in. Okay, do you see the endings of every row here? You either have like a chain or a double crochet. In this case, this is a double crochet here. 1 second, you guys. Here we are. Okay, so this is like a double crochet, and then here we have like a little hole, which is where you actually worked a shell into. And then you've got, this is an actual chain 3. No, it's a double crochet, isn't it? It's a double crochet. And then you've got that little hole. So we are going to work a chain 2, which I have already done. And you see in these holes here, we're going to do single crochets. So now that we've done our chain 2, in this hole in particular there, we're going to do a single crochet. And then chain 2, and in the next hole right underneath there, we're going to do another single crochet. And then chain 2, and in the next hole underneath right here, we're going to do another single crochet. And then going to chain 2 again, and into that next hole right there, we're going to put in another single crochet. And we're going to do this until the length of the blanket is done. I will pause and meet you at the end of this row. We have now done the length of this blanket with its side, you see. It looks pretty neat so far. So I am at the end of this row, and I will show you what to do now. So you're going to chain 2. See, I'm at the end of this row, and we're about to flip the blanket to its side to work on the bottom of the blanket where we started with a chain, you know, with a starting chain. So you're going to chain 2, 1, 2. We're going to work a corner into, you see, that very first chain where the first half shell is made. You see, it's like a little hole right here. We're going to do a corner in that one. So a single crochet, chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and into that same space you're going to do a single crochet. Now that I've done a corner, I am putting in a stitch marker. Here we are. Okay, now we are flipping this blanket to this side so we can work on the bottom. And this is going to be very similar to the top. In fact, it's going to be exactly the same, except that we're working with a working chain. So we're going to chain 2, 1, 2, and in this valley right here, do you see? We're going to put in a half double crochet. Just like so. Then you're going to chain 2, and where we worked the shell, you can see there's a hole right there where we worked the shell. In this one, you're going to put in a single crochet. And then chain 2, and in the next hole right here, you're going to put in a half double crochet. Then chain 2, and in the next hole right there where we worked a shell, you're going to put in a single crochet. This is how it looks so far. I do have to apologize for the noise. This is because of the storm. It's going completely crazy outside, and as a result I've got two things knocking at my door. It is the letterbox flap and also the door knocker. They are both having a party, and all we can hear is bing, 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 bing. It is extremely annoying. I've had that for quite a while now, quite a few days. That, there's absolutely nothing that I can do about that. So I will go ahead and continue with this side and meet you at the end of the row. I'm at the end of this row now, and this is how it looks. Looks pretty flat. So to end this row in particular, all we have to do is chain 2, and we're going to work a corner into this space right here where we worked our last half double shell. Do you see? It's right here in this space there. So in this space there, we're going to work a single crochet, single crochet, chain 3, and another single crochet in that exact same space right here. And of course, what am I going to do now, since I've just done a corner? I'm going to put in a nice little stitch marker. Okay, so now we're going to flip the blanket and work on the very last side of this blanket, and it's pretty much like the other side here. So we're going to chain 2. This blanket is a bit of an awkward sizing, so I'm having difficulties in holding it in the right place so it doesn't actually fall to the ground, and it's really difficult. I do apologize. So chain 2, and now we're going to work in the same way that we did on the other side. You see here how there's this double crochet. Right underneath is like a little hole. This hole is a little bit smaller than on the other side and a bit more difficult to locate, I find. But it's very easy. Once you know where they are, it is not a problem anymore. So right here there's a double crochet, and underneath is like a hole, and then underneath there's another double crochet, and right underneath there's like a little hole. So we're going to, in this little hole, do a single crochet. Do you see it? Right here. Single crochet. Oh. I'll do it again. So in this hole right here, single crochet, and then you're going to chain 2, and you're going to skip that double crochet, and into the hole underneath right here you're going to put in a single crochet. There we are. And then chain 2, and into this next hole we're going to do a single crochet, and then chain 2, and you're going to skip that double crochet again, and into that hole you're going to do a single crochet. And this is how it looks so far, and you're going to do that right to the end of the row. And once you've done that, it's almost the end of round 1. We are now done with this side, and all we have to do is finish the first round. How we're going to do that is we're going to chain 2, 1, 2, and we're going to join with a slip stitch to the first single crochet which is right here. There. Here's the first single crochet. So you're going to just join with a slip stitch, and the first round is now done. So now I am guessing this is all to do with how you're working with your tension. Personally, I'm going to switch crochet hook from a 4.5mm to a 4mm crochet hook, but this could all depend on anyone's tension and what's the size hook you're using, what type of yarn you're using. But personally, I will be now using a 4mm crochet hook to carry on with round 2. How we're going to start round 2 is we're going to slip stitch into this corner space. There we go, with a slip stitch. I'm going to take off that stitch marker. Here we are. Now we're going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3. And into that same space we're going to work 2 double crochet. 1, 2, and we're going to do a chain 3. 1, 2, 3. And into that same space we're going to do 3 double crochet. 1, 2, and 3. Our first corner is now worked. So I'm going to go ahead and put my stitch marker back here. I don't think I need it anymore, but it just becomes a habit. So now what we're going to do, in each space that you see, we're going to just simply work 3 double crochets. It's very, very simple. 3 double crochets in every space that you have here. So it's really an awkward size blanket. I am struggling with it. Okay, I just have to keep in mind that it is for a little neonatal hospital bed. Right, so into that space we're going to work 3 double crochet. 1, 2, and 3. And into the next space we're going to work 3 double crochet. 2 and 3. And now I'm just going to explain to you how to continue for the remainder of this round 2. All you're going to do is, in every space that you have, we're going to put in 3 double crochet. When you reach the corner space, these corner spaces, you're going to do 3 double crochet, chain 3, 3 double crochet. Then you're going to flip the blanket around here so you work on the other side, and in each space here you're going to just work 3 double crochet. You're going to do that all the way around, and I will meet you at the end of round 2 to show you what to do on round 3. Alright, so I'm nearly done with round 2. All I need to do is 3 double crochet in this last space right here. So here we go. 1, 2, and 3. Okay, now we are ready to join to the first top, the top of this chain 3 here. You see here you've got 3 double crochet, 2 double crochet in that chain 3 that we did to begin the round. Well, on top of that chain 3, we're going to do a slip stitch to join around. I like to do under 2 loops. This camera is not that great, is it? I do apologize. So right here, on top of that chain 3, 1, 2, and here, there, we're going to join with a slip stitch. There we are. You see, 2 loops there, and we are joining with a slip stitch. It's a little bit awkward sometimes. There we are. Now I'm going to zoom out and show you how this looks so far. Okay. And this is how it is. There. And we will do one more round. If you like the blanket as it is now, of course you can stop right here, or you could just add any border of your choice. But I will do just one more round, and we will do some chains and some clusters. So without further ado, let's begin round 3. We are now ready to start on round 3, and in this round, do you see how we get all these groups of 3 double crochets here, and then you have like a little space in between? In the 3 double crochets, there we are going to work clusters of 3 double crochets together, and we're going to do some chains in between. It is very easy, and I will show you how to do this right now. Okay, so round 3. This is where I ended round 2, right here. So since we already did a slip stitch into that first double crochet, all we're going to do now is a chain 3. This will count as a double crochet. So 1, 2, and 3. So let's continue our cluster. Into the next double crochet, we're going to do like a partial double crochet, because in here we are going to do a cluster of 3 double crochets together. So we're going to, I am so sorry, this blanket is going all over the place. Okay, so we're going to yarn over and insert the hook into the next stitch, yarn over and pull through 2. We now have 3 loops on the hook. We're going to yarn over and pull through 2. We now have 2 loops on the hook. We're going to repeat that process one more time. Yarn over the hook, insert the hook into the next double crochet, yarn over and pull through, yarn over and pull through 2. We now have 3 loops on the hook. We're going to yarn over and pull through all 3 loops. Now we're going to chain 2. And into this next space, it is a corner space. And into that space, we're going to work 2 separate clusters. So to do that, we're going to yarn over the hook and put your hook into that space, yarn over and pull through, yarn over and pull through 2. You're going to do that 2 more times. 1 and 2. We now have 4 loops on the hook. You're going to yarn over and pull through all 4 loops. And you're going to now chain 2 and do another cluster into that same space. and chain 2. And now we are flipping the blanket onto the side so we can work on this side now. And we're going to repeat this process all the way along, where in these 3 double crochet here you're going to do a cluster, and when you've done your cluster you're going to chain 2, and then in the next group of 3 double crochet here you're going to work another cluster and then chain 2, and then in the next 3 double crochets here you're going to work another cluster and chain 2. You're going to do that until you get to your next corner, and in the next corner you're going to work a cluster, chain 2 and another cluster. Then you're going to flip your work around and you're going to do a cluster in here, chain 2, and then a cluster in the next 3 double crochet here, chain 2, and do this all the way around. So I will now pause the video and I will meet you at the end of this round. I have almost completed the whole 3rd round. All I have to do now is the last cluster right here. So let's go ahead. Last cluster is made. I'm going to chain 2 and I'm going to join to the top of this cluster, which is right here. There we are, and now I'm going to fasten off. And the 3rd round is done. There we are. This is how it looks. So this is a blanket. There we are. I hope you like it. I think I will add an additional round, and that will be completely optional, whatever you want to do with your blanket, but I will go back to the peach and I will add an additional round. So I will weave in this end and I will grab this yarn and I will show you what to do next. When I'm done with this blanket, I will tell you exactly how much yarn I have used in total. So I hope that so far you're still enjoying this tutorial. And there we are. So far so good. I really like the how it looks. I hope you do too. I will be back in a moment. Okay, now we are going to work on round 4, and please remember that round 4 is completely optional. Whether you want to do it in your main color or a different color, that is completely up to you. I am going to switch back to the peach color to give it a nice final edging, and I will switch back to my 4.5mm hook, because now we're going to work with single crochets all around. And I find that when I do personally my single crochets, they are a little bit tighter. So I want it a little bit looser, and I decided to use a 4.5mm hook. So to begin this round, I will start with a slip knot, and I will attach my yarn to any corner space. So in my case it will be this corner space, I will see if I can zoom in. Okay, so in this corner space here, I will attach the yarn with a slip stitch. There we are. And I will chain one. This chain will not count as a stitch. In this corner space, we're going to do 3 single crochet. So 1, 2, and 3. And now what we're going to do, there are 2 different options. The first option is very simple. It's going to be just like so. On top of this cluster, you're going to do a single crochet. So into that space right here, single crochet, there. And into this space between the clusters now, you're going to do a single crochet. On top of the next cluster right here, you're going to do another single crochet. And into the next space here, you're going to do a single crochet. And you're going to do that all the way down the side. So as you are working your side, you might find that 1 single crochet may not be enough. For me, it is more than enough. But if for some reason you find that 1 single crochet in between here is not enough, you could do a second one. It is entirely up to you. For me, for now, the 1 single crochet between the clusters is just fine. So I will do a few more single crochet and then I will pause. So it's going to be a single crochet on top of every cluster and a single crochet in between the spaces, just like so. Single crochet on top of that cluster and single crochet in between these 2 clusters, all the way down until you reach the next corner. When you reach the next corner, all you will do is simply 3 single crochet in that corner and then go to this side and carry on with a single crochet on top of the cluster and a single crochet in between the clusters. And you're going to do that basically all the way around round 4. I will meet you at the end of this round. Okay, I just thought I would add a little note here because as I was working on the border, so this is the top of the blanket, I found that working 1 single crochet between the clusters for me personally was more than enough. But when I flipped the blanket to the side, I found that the 1 single crochet wasn't really enough. So I worked 2 single crochets between each clusters, and I find that it's working a whole lot better for the edging. I thought it was worth putting this note in just in case the 1 single crochet was not enough and your blanket was bunching up like this. So if it does that, just add a single crochet in between the clusters and it should be okay. I am almost at the very end of this round 4, so just have a few more stitches to do here. So here we are, just 1, and I think it's just 1 more single crochet to do, And there we are. I've come to the end of this round. So what I'm going to do now is slip stitch to the first single crochet right here. And I am ready to fasten off. Okay, I will now zoom out. And this is what the blanket looks like. It's really hard to show with this camera. Okay, so here we are. This is the blanket. I think the border is pretty neat. So I will have to reiterate something. I will zoom in about the fourth round. So as I've said before, the top and the bottom of the blanket, I have worked a single crochet on top of the cluster, and in between between these clusters I have put one single crochet. So a single crochet on top of the cluster and a single crochet in between the clusters. But when I flipped my blanket around, I found it more useful to do one single crochet on top of the cluster and then 2 single crochets in between the clusters. I did that all the way down, and when I went to the bottom of the blanket, I went back to one single crochet in between the clusters. So you do one single crochet on top of the cluster and one single crochet in between the clusters. And then back to the side, and I did 2 single crochets in between the clusters. And finally I joined to the top of the first single crochet. And all you have to do now is just weave in your ends and your blanket is done. I just completely love this blanket, you guys. I hope you do too. There it is. So in its entirety, let's measure it now that we've done the border, shall we? So this for particular blanket, I have measured it, and the width of the blanket is actually now, with the border included, 12.5 inches, which is 32 centimeters, and in its length it's worked up as 30 inches, which is 76 centimeters. And materials wise, I have used 2 balls, one in white and one in peach. Each balls were 100 grams, and I haven't used it all. So for the white, I have used in total 65 grams. This is how much I have left. I've used only 65 grams. And the peach, I have used a little bit more. I used 15 I think it worked up as 85 grams in total. So I've got 15 grams left, which is 85 grams. So I think it's pretty good, really. It just depends how big you want your blanket to be. So if you wanted it to be double the size, you just have to double the amount. It is all entirely up to you, and of course, like I keep saying, it depends what the yarn you use is. This is DK, or I think in the USA it works out like a number 3 sport weight yarn. But if you use a number 4, then I'm not too sure how much yarn you would need, but of course the stitches would be bigger. So I'm just not sure. I'm just working with a DK. So the measurements once again were 12.5 inches by 30 inches, and I've used 65 grams of white and 85 grams of peach. Okay, I hope that you've enjoyed this tutorial, and please give it a thumbs up. That would be really nice. And also I would love to read your comments. Will you be doing this blanket? Will you be doing it with multicolored yarn, different colors, or just the one solid color? What do you think about the border and the fact that you have an optional 4th round? I think it looks nice with a 4th round, but of course if you prefer it without that 4th round, then it's entirely up to you. But I would be so happy to hear your thoughts on that. And also, please, if you haven't done so already, subscribe to my channel and click the little bell next to the subscribe button so you will be notified when I publish new videos. So thank you very much for watching. Truly hope you've enjoyed this tutorial, and until the next time, happy knitting and crochet everyone!